Are you looking for an easy way to keep your dog's mouth healthy and happy? Are you tired of wrestling with them or having them chomp on their toothbrush as you're trying to brush their teeth? If so, stay tuned. You're going to want to hear this episode. Hi there. Welcome back to Dog Happy. I'm Missy. In today's episode, we are going to be exploring a product called TEEF. It is a new way to take care of preventing dental decay in your dog. And I think you're going to be amazed and really enjoy this episode. I was actually watching an episode of Magnolia Kitchen with Joanna Gaines. And at the beginning of it, she's tasting her meal and she's like, she's like, if every single episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, this tastes so delicious. This is going to get old. And sometimes I think I'm like, this new amazing product, but you know something, these products are amazing. I do a lot of research before I speak with these guests. And so far, everything that I have brought you is so amazing. So I really hope that you enjoy this episode and you find this product as fascinating as I have. Today, I am also going to do my very first segment of Dog Happy and Me, so I hope you'll love it. A lot of times when I interview these guests, they have some human component that I would love to bring to you all, but I feel like you sign on for dogs, so I kind of keep it there. But now I'm going to make sure that there's just a little segment where I can slip in some human stuff because there's so much information to share and directions to point people in. I really hope you like this segment. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't already liked this episode, you could just go ahead because it's pretty awesome. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Let's jump right into the episode. So TEEF was developed by Dr. Emily Stein, a microbiologist with a deep expertise in infection and inflammatory disease, and co-founder and VP of Business Development, Lindsay Campbell. We are very lucky to have Lindsay in the house today. So without further ado, let's welcome her to the show. Hi, Lindsay. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about TEEF and what this is?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, so TEEF is basically the kind of newest innovation when it comes to dental health for your pets. My co-founder, Dr. Emily Stein, is a microbiologist, and she has developed a technology that basically is in powder form, like you'll see in the product. And it's a prebiotic that you just add to the dog's water dish. Actually, dogs and cats can use it, but we've formulated specifically for dogs, hence the 42 number. Protectin 42 is 42 teeth in the dog's mouth.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So basically what she did is it was an experience that she had that she rescued a 10-year-old Cocker Spaniel. And on the way home, within 36 hours, the dog nearly died of sepsis, like blood infection, because the decay in her mouth was so bad. So she had to take her in and get 21 teeth extracted, months of antibiotics and stuff like that to literally just kind of save her. And turns out that's not an uncommon problem when it comes to, shelter dogs. And even just in general, dogs by the age of 3 all have periodontal disease, 80%. So anyway, so she kind of went to work to, I guess, biohack her dog and figure out just kind of what ingredients would work to not eradicate all bacteria, because bacteria are needed, to protect us, basically. So she found a combination in those 4 ingredients in TEEF that basically will suppress the growth of bad bacteria, but grow the good so that they can kind of take up residence in your oral microbiome. And it results in better breath, healthier gums, less acidity to kind of like decay teeth and the periodontal ligament and stuff like that. So it's really kind of a cool new, almost, and it's kind of a weird word, but elegant solution to controlling bacteria.
Yeah, well, anybody who's tried to brush their dog's teeth probably would appreciate that.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was what actually got me really excited about it. Is really I can just put it in the water and like one and done. So it's so simple to use. Could you actually talk a little bit about dogs' teeth? Do they have cavities like we do. Could you help us just understand teeth and the decay process in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think dogs have stronger enamel than we do. So they do not get cavities,
Oh,
but they have that. Basically, the problem is that 60% of the tooth for humans and pets is below the gum line,
oh,
where a lot of things can't reach, not bones, not chews, not even dental cleanings, right? So there's this whole neglected area underneath the gum line where these bacteria are just thriving, right?
oh.
So what they're doing is they're kind of, putting out their acids and starting to do their destructive behaviors, and it eats at that periodontal ligament. And the interesting thing too is that tartar doesn't just develop on teeth, it goes from the gum up. So the best identifiers are not visible right away, they're smellable,
Oh,
right? So bad breath in dogs and when it starts to get strong, that means there's an issue,
oh,
right?
wow.
That means there's decay happening. So the first indicator aside from breath is usually like reddened gums, like they look inflamed.
Mhm.
So a little bit redder rather than pink. And then obviously you'll start to see the plaque and the tartar start to build up after that. So it's important to catch that early, really early. We have Dr. Stein, my co-founder and the inventor of this product. Her dog Cash has been on it since he's been 3 months old, and beautiful pink gums and teeth and white teeth, and it's really impressive to see from like 3 months that I don't believe he's going to need dental cleaning for a very long time. I'm not going to say never, but
Right.
but yeah, it's important to get dogs on it as soon as you can, really, because it's a preventative more so than a treatment.
Well, I think that's where holistic health kind of comes from anyway, which is let's prevent
Exactly.
it rather than try and fix it once it's
Hmm.
broke, because
Exactly.
sometimes that's harder. Yeah. When you were talking about the periodontal ligament, that's what holds the tooth in
To the jaw,
the cat to
basically.
the
Yeah.
jaw, right? Okay.
Hmm.
I don't know, when I was reading through your product and reading through kind of researching this, I think like you only think it's all on the top, maybe because you brush your own teeth, maybe because that's been kind of the solution for our dogs too, give them a
Hmm.
chew,
Hmm.
brush their teeth. It just kind of makes you think everything is very surface, but it starts before you can kind of see it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, mechanical removal of the plaque on your teeth, of course, is very important. Like, I would never say don't give your dog, something to chew on. In fact, like toys that like dog toys
Like,
that squeak and the like fabric, right?
uh-huh.
Those almost function like a toothbrush, which is
Oh,
good.
nice.
The problem with chews and bones is that some of them have a lot of carbohydrates, and those are the kind of the devil when it comes to dental health. And I'll go into that later. But we all have been taught for years to mechanically remove the debris on your teeth, which is good, but that is not the cause. The cause is the bacteria that do the destruction. So instead of what we're doing with mechanical removals, we're moving the bacteria around, but we're not changing their behavior.
Oh,
You need to change their behavior and what they're doing, what they're excreting, what they're, all those kind of more complex, deeper dives. And that's what our formulation is doing. It's basically putting bacteria on a keto diet. We're telling them to stop eating sugar. It's like unruly children. So we're telling them to stop eating sugar and carbs. And we're saying eat protein instead, a healthier diet. And those byproducts and those behaviors are much less destructive.
okay. So if I'm understanding, we've got a whole host of bacteria in the mouth.
Mhm.
And now, just really quickly, this is not a probiotic. This is a prebiotic, which is the food that feeds the bacteria that you want to grow. Is that what you're
Exactly.
doing? Okay.
Exactly. So the purpose behind probiotics, in a sense, is to displace the bad bacteria and replace the environment with those good bacteria.
Okay.
Problem with that is that, I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's harder to displace those already existing, taking up residence bad bacteria. It's just hard to do. When you're using prebiotics, you're basically just switching out what they're eating, and by doing that, it's just an easier transition for those microbiomes to make, so that it's almost like you're transforming them in a sense rather than
Okay.
replacing and moving them around. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah, it does. you're giving the mouth what it needs to create the best environment possible.
Right. Feeding the good guys to
Yeah.
outcompete the bad guys.
Oh, outcompete the bad guys. So the
Yeah.
bad guys are still there, but
Yep.
you're waiting the battle.
We're arming. Yeah, we're arming the good guys.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And now bad guys are what?
The bad players are sugar driven, right?
Okay.
So like P. gingivalis, streptococcus, all these kind of some bad strains, they're very sugar driven. So what we're doing is literally just shutting off their ability to eat those sugars. And then we're asking them with our prebiotics to eat protein instead. But the bad ones, it turns out, don't have as robust of a metabolism as like a lactobacillus or the better strains. So it just naturally kind of happens where it's starving out the bad guys, but it's growing the good.
Oh,
So you're seeing that shift happen in the microbiome.
so this product is pretty safe then. It's pretty gentle and pretty safe. So it's not like crushing it with an antibiotic that just kind of like decimates everything. You're just gently saying, here you go, you get better. And then you just kind of settle down. Okay.
Then that's, I mean, it's a good way to put it though, because when you do the carpet bomb all bacteria, they just grow back the same and even more angry than before. And it's at the same, disproportionate levels of the bad guys versus the good guys. You're not switching that environment the way you need to.
That's really good to know.
We tested our product on humans to make sure that it was safe for dogs.
God, you gotta love that, don't you? It doesn't really work that way usually, but I've talked to AnimalBiome a couple times, and that's kind of how the research on their end goes too. It starts in the human world and it kind of gets altered for the dog world. So that's really nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're our friends over there, and we've done a bunch of studies with them to show the shift in the diversity and the shift in good bacteria versus bad. So you can just see it over 5 days only, that shift's happening. So even though you can't see it, so, we gotta figure out an easy way to kind of show that in some way, shape, or form. That they have a great testing kit that does give you good readouts and all sorts of information that's kind of helpful when it comes to balancing the oral microbiome, and actually offer a bag of TEEF with it. So if you want to see the shift in your dog's mouth, go give that a try.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I remember growing up that, everybody wanted to be a marine biologist. And now I'm thinking with all the incredible information coming out about the microbiome, whether it's in your mouth or your gut or, it's all connected. That's kind of like the new marine biologist. It's a really interesting frontier.
Absolutely. It's like a marine biologist and then like an astronaut at the same time. It's just like this universe of, complete mystery that people are starting to understand, but constantly learning about.
Yeah.
It's nice to see the shift of consciousness happening to starting to understand that.
So this is the package of TEEF. Let's just dive in and let's take a look at it, see what we're talking about, because this is actually 30 days worth of help. So it comes in this bag, and this is the directions, right? On how to.
Yeah, it's a pamphlet about a little bit more of the kind of dosing instructions, some of the results you can expect to see or, not expect to see if you've got a really old dog, and that timeline. So you can set your expectations a little bit realistically, because it doesn't happen instantly.
Actually, since you mentioned that, say you do have a dog who has, maybe a small dog with not so many teeth, or maybe even no teeth, or you do have a dog that's maybe you've just come across this product and they're 11 or 12. Will they still get benefits from using it?
Absolutely. Because it will affect the gum health. And the gum health is the most important. Teeth are teeth, they're bone, they're important, but even if they're not there, the gum health is very important, because that's the source of the systemic issues that you can have. Is if you have bleeding gums, or if they're unhealthy or inflamed, that leads to more systemic or overall health issues. That's where for one blood cell that comes out of your gums, there's about 100,000 bacteria that can go in. to your
Oh my
body.
goodness.
And when they go in, they set up shop elsewhere, right? So your heart, brain, joints, there's all sorts of different, problems with that. So maintaining gum health is super important.
I believe with your founder, it was a bladder infection and maybe some arthritis with, was it Tinzley,
Yeah.
her dog? You wouldn't think teeth affects bladder health, but
Oh yeah.
so
It's all downstream. It affects gut health, bladder health, kidney health. I mean, it's kind of endless, to be honest. This is the gateway. I don't think it gets enough credit for the
yeah.
importance that it has.
Yeah, that's what when I was reading more about your product and about the importance of tooth health. I don't exactly know what I had thought about teeth. The importance of the gums really hit home as I was reading more and more about that. And
Sure.
I was wondering whether or not once you have no teeth, does it matter? But again, it begins underneath and it kind of comes up. So
Yep.
one thing I wanted to mention since I'm in here, I noticed you have directions for raw fed dogs and small dogs too. So is it different for somebody who feeds a raw diet like I do because they don't drink quite as much water?
Exactly. Really, it's one of these situations where with our product, less is more, in the fact of really literally a scoop a day will be fine for your dog, no matter what size.
Okay.
And what we really are doing, because those are pure ingredients, we don't have any fillers or preservatives or any of that stuff in it. What it's doing is just it's a pure scoop of technology in your dog's water. And the reason we dose the way we do with smaller dogs and raw fed dogs is because they do drink less water. So you kind of want a higher concentration. So the few laps that they do take, it does its job a little bit more, because bacteria do not sleep. So you've got to keep dosing the dog somehow. And then bigger dogs, they drink more water, and it's just a little bit more of again, we're dosing the bacteria, not the dog.
Okay. So say my dog doesn't drink very much during the day. Will that still be of benefit to them?
It should, but we suggest, if anybody has dogs that really don't drink much water at all, you can add it to a toothbrush, add a little water on it. You can make a little paste in your hand and have them eat it out of there, have them lick it up.
Oh, okay.
Maybe do that like once or twice a day. So there are other ways to kind of do it. Some people put it on their food. We can't guarantee results on food, but I've heard good results. So yeah, so there's different ways to administer it. And we're working on a bunch of different other options. We're working on treats that are completely protein based. We're working on, chews and stuff like that are maybe like rawhide or what bully sticks. So like bully sticks that are like coated with it. I mean, we're not exactly sure yet exactly which way we're going to go, but we're kind of doing R&D right now to see what's the most effective.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's other options. Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking that you've got dogs that like to only drink out of the toilet. I'm like, well, you need to
put it in there. Just get a scoop in the toilet.
Scoop, don't flush. Nobody use that, right? Which actually made me wonder, do you have to, once you put the scoop in, do you have to go back a couple times a day and like mix it up? Or does it just dissolve in the water and it kind of stays viable all day long without any more help?
Yeah, no, it'll stay viable and totally effective for up to about 2 days, sometimes 3, but we don't recommend 3 if you think you just wanted to change out your dog's water a little more often than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so for multiple dog homes, what we suggest people do is take like a gallon or like a pitcher of water, put a couple scoops in there and keep it in the fridge to at least, kind of extend its effectiveness, and then just top off the water dishes throughout the house or refill your current one, just the one you have, however you want to do it, but it kind of extends the life of your supply too. So,
and because these are prebiotics, not probiotics, this is not living, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
Probiotics are live and would die if they didn't have the right environment, temperature, that kind of thing. So, but
exactly.
this is just food for it.
Yep. That's just nutrients.
Okay. So
we call it molecular nutrition.
I saw that. It's just so cool. It's so cool. The new frontier. So how come it's so small? am I not using, is there a spoon in here? Did I miss that?
Yeah, if you take out
Yeah.
the spoon, you'll understand
Oh,
why.
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Can you see it?
the tip of that is, yeah, I mean, I kind of,
Yeah. Well,
but
I'll put it up.
it's almost impossible to see. That's how small it is. That's how much you're putting in. So, a lot of people, when they open the jar and they're like, well, this is half empty. And it's like, no, that is the right amount. It looks like you got shorted, but that's exactly the 30 days worth of product that you need.
Well, that's
So,
nice. It's also because you all don't do any fillers or stabilizers or anything. It is just it's 4 ingredients, right?
yep, we've got
Okay.
cyclodextrin, which is a soluble fiber, vitamin B6, L-arginine amino acid, which is another prebiotic, and then sodium bicarbonate, really small amount of sodium bicarbonate to neutralize the acids in the dog's mouth. So yeah, I mean, and that's it. And we've really kind of insisted on not adding other stuff to it. I mean, eventually there may be some kind of filler in some other application we do, but we can't do preservatives because preservatives kill good bacteria.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. That's the key to our science. So
And when you were talking about making treats and things like that, so there are other dental products out there. It probably would have helped with my struggling if I had paid attention to the perforated part before.
I've missed it before too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. When you go to open it, there's a perforation. It makes it much easier. So there are products out there like greenies. Do those do the same thing that your product does?
No, they're betting on the mechanical removal.
Okay.
And that's their play. And, I'm not going to say it doesn't do that, but I think that, again, when you're introducing carbohydrates and all sorts of other things into the dog's mouth and diet, it's kind of counterproductive. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. So you're talking about this product has decided to target what you can't see, where the issue begins.
Yeah, the under the gum line thing is huge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure every dog likes a treat, right? So maybe once in a while, but maybe also use something like this more on a regular basis. So
yeah, absolutely. Like I'm realistic. Like I love giving my dog treats too.
Yeah.
Like, they love it, right? So it gives you joy as well. But I think, having this as a supplement to kind of counteract what those bacteria are going to eat out of the dog's diet with TEEF is effective in helping maintain like a decent dental health.
I was reading some reviews and people were talking about the fact that the tartar on the teeth was coming off the longer that they were using the product. It's not just you're improving gum health, you're actually going to improve the quality of the teeth too.
Yeah. And to be honest, that was kind of a secondary benefit that we found after we started using it and testing, because we think what's happening is that when we're starving out the bad bacteria from eating sugars, they're seeking it out in the plaque and tartar. So they're actually disintegrating it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's like a molecular toothbrush we're creating for basically the bacteria are doing the work for you.
That's really cool though. I mean, that's really neat. And I just love those kind of happy accidents. Yeah, it really works out nicely.
I think it's only really recently been discovered how important dental health is on overall health. I think people have just kind of kept it in this region, and you take care of the teeth, and basically as long as you have white teeth, you're healthy is kind of what people have always assumed. And that's just not the case.
Is that also part of the reason why there is a systemic issue when your teeth are bad, the health of your, I almost don't feel like it's your teeth anymore. I feel like I should say it's your gums, the health of your gums. Okay. Gums, but how that affects everything, and you're swallowing that, right? Does that live? Can that bacteria make it through the stomach?
That's kind of a question I think I'd defer to Emily on, the expert scientist. It's important because what these bacteria are doing is what you're swallowing as well. Right. So, we have had reports of downstream effects that are positive on, gut health and, urinary tract stuff and things like that. So that's great. Granted, we haven't done any extensive studies on it, but we know it's happening. Especially, we did a study with AnimalBiome, and that's kind of like the end process that they study, and they were seeing positive effects completely downstream. So that's great to see.
Well,
And then that's just, I guess, is a testament to how connected it all is, you know?
yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
it's also good to know that if you did use something like this and you've taken the time maybe to do some microbiome work, that you're not, that this isn't going to negatively impact it, that you
Right.
said that you've seen positive downstream effects. So that's
Mhm.
fantastic. Has
Yeah.
anybody talked to you about seeing any kind of like ears start to clear up or any of that?
Yeah. So not necessarily ear infections, at least I haven't, and maybe Emily has. I know she's having a lot of studies going on and stuff like that. But I know definitely and I don't know what it's called, but the eye,
But yeah.
yeah, that clears up.
Oh,
That starts to clear up a little bit. It's for some more than others, of course. Every microbiome is different,
of
but
course.
some dogs will really react positively in that way too.
Well, you would, that actually kind of makes sense if you're talking about infection. The gums are up here also, which are,
Hmm.
close to
Yep,
that
all
area.
connected. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things I love about this type of product and microbiome issues is that there are so many applications that the longer you use a product, it's like, oh, look what it does here. Oh, look what it does there,
Right.
right? Yeah, it's really, it is like a new frontier, really. It's,
100%. And
yeah.
that's what's, I think, I love so much about this product and what we're doing is that it's not just limited to the oral cavity. We've actually tweaked the formulation slightly, and we can treat hot spots with it
With,
because
with
yeah,
this,
not exactly that formula. I mean, that probably wouldn't hurt, but
mm,
I know Emily works on a different formulation specifically for hot spots, and then give that in conjunction with our product because dogs lick. So that bacteria gets transferred onto the skin. So you got to make sure you're kind of doubling up on the topical solution as well as the oral solution.
interesting. Will that hotspot treatment be a different product that you're coming at, or are you just talking about tweaking this in some way right now?
I don't know exactly what our timing is with that. Right now, we're kind of in beta testing with it. So we probably have, as far as I know, a couple dozen like clients or subjects, I guess you could say, that are testing it and have seen really positive results. Right now, we're just kind of focused on oral, but not to say that we can't just make those tweaks and kind of come out with something a little bit more topical and even ear infection type of solution. Anywhere where there's bacteria, we can play, and then bacteria are everywhere. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's kind of a fun reality that
yeah,
we're looking at. It's almost like there's too many opportunities in a sense because like
yeah.
what do you focus on? And definitely we chose oral because it is the biggest, I guess, indicator and influencer on overall health. But there's a million different ways to go with it. So it's
Well,
exciting.
yeah, no, there's so many dogs out there. I mean, if 80% of the dogs are going to have some kind of periodontal disease by the
Hmm.
time they're 3,
Hmm.
and you're looking at 12, 14, 15 years. And for the
Hmm.
little dogs, the outcome really for them is you almost expect at some point in time, you're going to be losing 1, 2, 3, 20 teeth. And,
Yep.
they're so stoic. It's so hard to tell that they're in pain. Yeah, I mean, and if you don't really know what to look for, I mean, I wonder sometimes if people are brushing away at their dog's teeth and it's actually hurting,
Yeah.
so
Possibly, yeah. I mean, well,
yeah.
it's my dog just like wants to eat the toothpaste and chew on the
She wants
toothbrush, so I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, if you just here, you have some teeth, just
there
drink
you
some
go.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's interesting too is that we're working on a cat product as well. So, granted, this product is safe for cats, and some people swear it's working for their cat. But what we want to do is create a formulation specifically for their oral microbiome because it is different than dogs. Cats have it even worse than dogs. I think by the age of 5, like 92% of cats have periodontal disease
Oh man, I
or
don't have a
some form
cat.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
that's
either, but yeah,
huge.
it's well, and there's not much out there for cats. I mean, dogs, there's chews, treats, there's a plethora of options, right? I don't think cats, there's not a lot.
That's why this type of thing is so exciting.
Mhm.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to use just I don't want to brush my dog's teeth.
Right.
I really don't. So you had mentioned that this product is really safe to use. And you had also mentioned a little bit ago about Cash, Dr. Emily's dog, and how he's been using it since he was 3 months old. Can you use this for a lifetime of the dog?
Absolutely. And that's what we recommend, to be honest. It's again, bacteria don't stop. They're always going to be reintroduced through foods, through water sources, through dirt. Um, so it's a constant battle. It's a day-to-day battle. You can't just, I mean, it's like us in our dental health, right? You can't just take a month hiatus from brushing your teeth, right? Please don't,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, you do it basically through end of life to just kind of be that preventative and that maintenance of that never-ending battle against oral bacteria that are trying to do the destruction below the gum line and on the teeth and all over, really. So
Oh, and what is, I keep hearing the term biofilm. Can
mhm.
you explain what that is?
So it's a kind of a fancy word for like slime. So plaque on your teeth, that's a biofilm. You know, when you take a flight on a plane and you feel that fuzzy sensation on your teeth,
Mhm.
that's a biofilm. That's
Oh,
plaque. There's biofilms everywhere. Moss is a type of biofilm. It's surfaces pretty much on anything. So what we often will recommend is to always wash your dog's water bowl because, I mean, as you know, like that slimy film develops in their water bowl and food bowl for that food dish for that matter. And that's a biofilm. And what that is a layer of bacteria that are just kind of taking up shop and finding their little homes on flat surfaces, right? So we try to at least wash your dog's dishes every other day if you can with soap and water to just get rid of that because otherwise, you know, again, you're introducing more bacteria into the dog's mouth. That
oh,
never-ending battle is continuing to grow when you don't.
right. They're
So
everywhere.
they really are. And you know, and that's the thing is that they're inevitable, but what you do want is the correct, especially in the mouth, you want the correct players and bacteria living in those biofilms so that they're not doing the destruction when they're in there. It's like you're evicting the problematic bacteria and you're bringing in, you know, the nicer, you know, taking care of yourself type of bacteria to basically take up residence in your mouth.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I always wondered
Mhm.
what I mean, I assumed that it was either part
Mhm.
of their saliva or something, but
Mhm.
I would wash it out. Yeah. So
Mhm.
no, I know exactly. And so we don't need to go overboard. Soap and water, good enough, right?
Yeah,
That takes care of it.
simple.
Okay.
Yeah, like
All right.
when I refill, I'm at the sink. I'll just put a little amount of dish soap in there and clean it out and rinse it. Pretty easy, but again, it's one of those little maintenance things that you know when we're in a hurry, we'll just kind of you know just
Yeah.
refill you know, and so but it is important to do. So
Yeah. Well, that's really a good thing. Now, would you mix your products with anything else? And could you talk a little bit about what other products are on the market and how they
sure.
work?
Sure. So I wouldn't recommend mixing our product with anything else, but it wouldn't hurt. It's contraindicated. So basically, we've tested it against any other probiotic, prebiotic, medications, things like that. It's been these are basically FDA approved ingredients, like grass ingredients, generally recognized as safe
Mhm.
in food. And basically, they've been tested for over 40 years, each one of these ingredients, and there's been no issues when you mix it with anything else.
Oh, okay.
But but with that, I wouldn't recommend. I mean, you could do like bully sticks with our product because then you get the mechanical removal, but that kind of thing's fine because we do recommend mechanical removal as much as you can, even if you can't brush your dog's teeth. But again, it's important to stay on the protein side of that mechanical removal instead of all the carbs and those other options that are out there. So that's kind of where we go to what else is out there. And there's a ton of different options. You've got sprays, gels, chews, bones, all these different things, right? Water additives. And I think it's just what's important to really pay attention to is the ingredients. So if you see like a chlorine dioxide in your water additive that you're putting in your dog's bowl, don't, because I mean, we wouldn't drink that every day with every
Right.
sip of water we drink. Then don't give it to your dog.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
And then carbohydrates, when you've got your treats and your chews, again, good if you're counterbalancing it with something that's kind of inhibiting the bacteria from converting those carbs into those destructive byproducts.
Okay.
Because carbs are bacteria's favorite sugars. So that's basically, they'll eat that out of whatever they eat first. They eat before we do.
Yeah.
So they're going to take that out of your diet. They're going to take that out of what you're eating and basically start doing the destruction right away. And then we also swallow those bad byproducts that they're creating. So that's what causes also downstream gut issues and things like that too. So
yeah, I think all of us have been a kid, and how many times had your parents said, you can't have that much candy, you're going to rot your teeth, right? So
that's
yeah.
the big reason why. I didn't understand why when I was a kid. I was just like,
Yeah,
what does sugar have that's so
right.
impressive? But yeah, no, it's what those bacteria are converting it to. That's what
Why
it
does
is.
everything that tastes good have to be bad?
I know. So true.
But it's bad. It's not bad. It just needs to be counterbalanced, hopefully, with this.
Exactly.
And
the human product that we
Yeah.
offer. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same idea with that. We recommend, they're lozenges, but I call them mints because they're more like mints. You just basically take those after you drink coffee, after you have lunch, after you brush your teeth at night. You could take a couple, so it enhances the benefits of brushing your teeth for the extent of, like 4 hours after you do it. But yeah, it's the same concept with humans as with pets. So.
Well, since you brought up the lozenges, can we talk about those? So this is
Sure.
a little bit of a new thing that I wanted to do, which is a dog Happi Me. When companies have products or technologies that also benefit the human, try and at least bring it up to let people know it's out there. So this product was invented for a grandmother who was ill and in a nursing home and wasn't able to brush her teeth.
Well, I'll start kind of from the top with it because I think it's important to understand the story. So Emily's in California doing her fellowship at Stanford, and her grandmother's in an assisted living home in Wisconsin. She's really close with her grandmother. I just played Scrabble online all the time, and she would always complain that grandma beat her all the time. So they were really close, but basically what happened is one day she gets a call from her parents to say that she had a major stroke, like major one. And so she's really upset. She flies to Wisconsin. She finds out that, she's in assisted living. She has rheumatoid arthritis. She couldn't manage her own dental health. She couldn't brush her teeth, and she was too embarrassed to tell the staff. And the staff has 150,000 other things that probably take priority too. So it's really hard for them to manage that as well. But granted, they didn't even know in the first place. So long story short, she gets a couple teeth extracted because of the decay and the periodontal disease. And when that happened, instantly, basically, she had a stroke because of cardiovascular connection with as soon as you open up that gum tissue, you're introducing the bacteria, and just like I mentioned earlier. And so anyway, she was really upset about that, but she's like, she found out that, this is not an uncommon problem. There are people, especially seniors, that are, have neglected dental care, and there's just a lot of misinformation out there as well. But anyway, so she basically biohacks her grandmother. She had swabs in her backpack, swabs her mouth, brings it back to her apartment in the Bay Area, and starts biohacking basically her oral microbiome. And she wanted to grab ingredients that were safe, no contraindication with any medications, things like that. So she was screening all sorts of different plant-derived, FDA-approved ingredients until she finally came up with a combination that's not much different at all than what we have in TEEF. So then she put that in a lozenge so that she could just take it. And so she created that for grandma.
That is so cool.
And yeah, and it started helping. At least we're not going to claim that it can reverse any effects, but it can definitely stop worse from happening. So it kind of maintained where she was at. But yeah, that's where we started, and then they're called pHossident lozenges. And fun fact, they're right now on the International Space Station.
Oh, wow.
Being tested as basically dental care solution for interstellar wow, why can't I say that? Interstellar travel.
How cool is that?
Rodney Jones, who works with us, he's wonderful, very smart. He worked with Caltech to develop the like a blister pack that will withstand like radiation and all the stuff in space that I don't even really know is there. But
yeah, or think
so
about, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that ends next September, so we'll see how it goes. But it's really kind of exciting to think about that we could be that solution for astronauts.
Yeah. Well, my father, I had bought the pHossident for him after talking or hearing about your product from AnimalBiome again. I owe them a shout out.
They're great.
Yeah, they are. For him, he had dry mouth from head and neck cancer, and the saliva wasn't the way it should be. So having those lozenges, plus he was retired. And now my mom, she was on the go all the time. My father was more sedentary, so
Sure.
why brush my teeth, or maybe I will. But he had congestive heart failure. And ultimately, it was a tooth infection that when it got out of control, that further damaged his heart, which made the heart failure become worse, that ended up in the end leading to his death. So it is so important, and it's so easy to eat those lozenges. So
yeah, they're pretty tasty.
Yeah, they are.
I often get the 30-day supply, and it's gone in usually like 10 days for me. In high school, I was like the Tic Tac girl. If I would have had these instead, I probably have much better dental health. But yeah, so they're great and they're convenient, and it's just kind of, again, I think convenience is the key, and not trying to necessarily change people's habits. So that's why I think we're going to keep trying to invent ways to get creative and get our technology in as many like dental health maintenance, applications as we can. So.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I know that product, I wish he had been more inclined to take it and really realize the seriousness of how his mouth affected all of the other bodily functions. But by the same token, we've got your product, we've got other things coming out, more information, more people are understanding that everything isn't in isolation, that it all interconnects. And so the more people learn, the better they'll be. And I've been taking much better care of my teeth since he had gotten sick. Now, the pHossident, can kids take that lozenge?
Yeah, we
have
orangesicle flavor for kids too. Well, a lot of our adults like it too.
That especially like holistic, from my dad.
And holistic, and people that are pretty, like I said, holistic, don't like mint as much, so they'll do the orangesicle. I have a couple of friends with kids who will, after they do a really terrible job brushing their teeth at night, they'll give them, a TEEF candy, they call it. So they'll give them like a lozenge or the mint to just kind of give them that extra level of protection, because I know they didn't do such a good job brushing their teeth. So yeah. And then you can, in the morning too, it's a tooth candy.
Yeah, and then it also probably means it's a little bit less of a battle. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and they think there's sugar in there, so they're kind of tricked into thinking it is really candy. So
yeah,
but
they do taste good. Yeah, they do taste really good. Back to teeth for a second. I had read that there's some certifications, and I noticed on your website that you really explain more about that. Can you talk a little bit about your product in relation to the dental certification?
Absolutely. So the Veterinary Oral Health Council is kind of the stamp of approval that the veterinary industry goes by as far as making sure that a product is effective on plaque and tartar. And I agree, that's great. I think certifications are important. The reason that we're not going to be seeking that certification is because there's kind of like an animal welfare element to it. Dogs that go through that testing need to go under anesthesia like 3 or 4 times in the span of 8 to 12 weeks to get probed and tested to make sure scraped, all those things to make sure that it's working on plaque. Well, we honestly don't believe that plaque and tartar are the cause of gum disease. We think that they're like an effect, or secondary effect of gum disease. So we don't want to do that to animals in the first place, but then also do that to animals to prove something that we don't necessarily believe is the cause. We're hoping that, maybe with the development and I guess evolution of people's understanding of what causes it, that maybe they'll have, another certification of, here's the bacterial, here's what your product is doing to bacteria to prevent gum disease. And until they do that, I don't really see why we should do that. Plus, we know we're 100% safe. I mean, we have over like 7,000 people that are using the product, and we've done testing. We tested on humans before animals. So, so really,
grandmas.
Right. and we know it works on, we know it works on plaque and tartar too. So we're just kind of,
if you don't need it, why do it?
Well, a lot of vets will swear by it because that's what they're taught in vet school, that you don't recommend any product that isn't VOHC certified. So that's a little bit of pushback there, but you know what, that's okay. We're going to have to stay strong in our stance on this. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you read the testimonials on your website, you read reviews on Amazon, and you've got a lot of evidence that it works, which is why I was really excited that you all had agreed to come on. I was just surprised that something this small, and this for me, I bought this on Amazon. I think it was like $28. And I noticed some people complaining about the cost. Oh my gosh, it's so expensive for this little thing. I just paid to have 2 teeth removed from Emmy's mouth, and that was almost $900. So this is 28 times 12 is still only maybe under $400.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I understand too, it's hard to, the believers that we have are true believers, right? But if you're trying out a new product and things like that, and if you're not seeing immediate results, people start to, get concerned, and what did I pay for and all these things. Right. But again, the true benefits of our product are not observable. Usually you'll notice breath improves and stuff like that, but it's the bacteria that's really the problem. So it's hard to convince, to something that you can't see. So,
true.
But
yeah. Well,
but yeah, I mean, we also do have a 6-month supply too for the people that want more bang for their buck. So
okay.
You can save about 25 cents a scoop if you order the 6-month supply.
Is that available on your website? Okay. And I will go ahead and put all the links below so that people can find you and connect with you all. One more question on this. So if I have a dog that doesn't really have any kind of visible issues in their mouth, basically knowing that it works means that I'm going to continue to see that the mouth looks healthy and clean and nice. But if I have a dog that has something a little bit, maybe a little more tartar buildup and stuff, or bad breath, how long is it taking to start to see results, so that I know to be patient?
It's a great question. And I wish I had a really solid, direct answer for it, but every dog is different. Every breed reacts differently with time and dental health. Like Yorkies are well-renowned, Chihuahuas for their poor dental health. But the way I try to explain it is it's kind of like a timeline. So you've got like 0 years, and you've got like severity of dental disease, and it goes up with how old the dog is. And, so your timeline goes by months. So I would say if you have like a 15-year-old black lab with like significant tartar buildup, some red gums, very really agitated, I'd say give it about 3 to 4 months to really start to see some solid results. But I mean, a 1-year-old dog has barely any dental disease or plaque buildup, our hope is that you get on top of it and then you keep going with it, and you never see that plaque and tartar, that tooth loss, that those things that really start to build up over time. So that's kind of, that's our hope
Yeah.
to get everybody on it, like at literally like month 3 with their dogs.
That
So
would be so nice. Yeah, because I didn't realize 80%, and that's at 3 years of age. And we
yeah.
think arthritis or,
Hmm.
I don't know, ear problems, skin problems, you feel like those are higher. I had no idea that
Hmm.
80%, that's a huge number that have
It is.
periodontal disease by 3. And
Yeah.
then where are you going from there? Just like you said, kind of
Right.
on an upward trajectory, especially if
Hmm.
you're still feeding foods that are high in the carbohydrates that the
Yeah,
bacteria like to eat. So,
exactly. Yeah.
wow.
Mhm.
Oh, this was so wonderful. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you'd like to mention?
Just some cool happenings, I guess, on our
Yeah.
end. So Emily's become kind of a subject matter expert, it's like key opinion leader in all things microbiome science and research. So she's speaking at a conference in London. She's on a panel with some other microbiologists involved in the pet industry, or I should say animal, because it's large animal too. And then like in Vienna, she's going to be speaking at another animal gut and health conference. So it's really kind of fun to see her become this guru, in oral microbiome type of stuff, and actually microbiome in general, but definitely specifically or oral microbiome. So yeah, so we've got some kind of fun things happening. We just got distribution in Japan. We're in Australia, Singapore. So good reach, but
Yeah.
we're a small team, so it's kind of it keeps us busy. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I can imagine. I really appreciate, that you were able to get on because right now it's February and it's dental month. So
It is
um, we're
our
going to
favorite
turn,
month.
yes, yeah, the big month for teeth.
Yeah,
So, well, I mean, I think that you've shared an incredibly broad amount of information about this product today. I mean, I hope that people understand that you really don't need more than this. And if you did, then you've probably got something else in here that maybe you need to take a look at if there's another product similar to this that's bigger,
yeah,
and if you like to look at a bigger jar, buy the 6 month.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It looks more like more in the tiny spoon. The tiny spoon is awesome. So
the spoon's the same size, so because
yeah.
it
I mean,
yeah.
we probably losing in that thing, but yeah. So, and give it a try. I mean, I think that's the path for anything is just give it a try and see how it works for your pet and then evaluate if it's right for you or not. So I'm excited to give it a try. We've got 4
Great.
dogs that we're going to be all with varying degrees of teeth health or tooth health. So I'm excited to
Sure.
give it a try.
Awesome. We can set up a discount code for Dog Happy. Can we
Oh,
do
sure.
Dog Happy 25 for 25% off your first order?
Sure. Thank you. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll share that out with everybody. Thank you very much. That was
no
wonderful.
problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
they'll appreciate that. Well,
no
thank you
problem.
so much for being here. I really appreciate your time and I'm excited to try your product and hopefully everybody else will be too. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you
Talk
so much for
later.
having me. I
Uh-huh.
appreciate it.
Well, this was a super fun episode. I learned so much in researching it and then now talking to Lindsay about the product. I feel like I have a better understanding. I also really enjoyed the first Dog Happy Me segment. So hopefully you got a lot out of that. And so not only do you know that this product can help actually you and your pet, but there's also another product that you can use for your kids or an older adult or yourself to improve your dental health. Don't forget to go to their website, which I will link below. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you so very much for being here. Stay happy.